Hello everyone, I'm Jack and I'm back, and let me show you where I am right now. So I have a follower that told me that they are pretty much a couple of steps behind where I am. So I gave them product recommendations and promised them that I would do a more step-by-step description or following of the process that I'm using. So what you see at the front is the hood that I made. It is actually a lightweight fiberglass hood shell that would work if I wanted to make just a copy of a C8 hood. The back two pieces are molds that I made, splash molds that I made off of a GT40. All right, so the idea of this is you can see what the final version would look like if you use your imagination. The hood here is actually going to go back there to fill in that gap. So I won't be using the entire hood. I'll be using part of that hood, but it needs to be that shape. Other than I don't like this W looking thing in the front, so I'll probably just go straight across there. Minor modification to both the body and the hood. So ideally this hood would sit on top of here, but the curves are all different. So when I set it on there, it looks funky. So instead of doing that, I put it in the front. So what I'll do is I'll put those on the car, the two fenders on the car, do that part of the front end as if I'm not going to even put the hood on it. Then I will set that hood on there and I will cut the fenders out for the hood, so that central section will come out, and then I will graft that central section right there with this back part of the hood to make a hood. What that'll do is allow me to do two separate fenders in the front end once I cut it and open it up. You'll see that when I get to that point in the process. All right, so these things are splash molds. This is the back side of the mold, and the scratches are there because I just put a quick coat of flat black paint on there. These things are getting heavy the more and more I do, so I'm dragging them because across the concrete, obviously it's scraping off the flat black paint, of which I don't care. Now, I purposely made the two pieces overlap each other. So if you look at this, you can see that the middle of this is going to be somewhere like right here. Let's back up so you can see. There we go. Right there. I don't know, right there. Whatever. So everything to the right of my finger here goes away. Everything to the left of my finger under here goes away. These two will come up and join together and be one piece. All right, but I didn't know exactly where the center was, so I said, you know what, I'll just make it wider, and then when I'm done, I will trim them to the right size. All right, let's see. All right, I've got a little clip here holding this. All right, so let me flip this up so I can tell you what I did. I have to be careful because this just has gel coat on it, and gel coat's pretty fragile. So I don't want to crack the gel coat. All right, and speaking of which, see there, it's cracked from handling it so much, and it's actually separated from the mold. The orange is the mold surface. I will probably put a piece of tape, what am I trying to say? Masking tape on there to hold that down, because otherwise, when I put the fiberglass and resin in there, I found out from past experience, it'll go in there and it'll fill in that, and it'll make an absolute mess on the other side. So I'd rather have a piece of tape here than that. And as you saw, chances are this is going to be cut off because it's an overlap area. But just in case I need some of it, I'll do it that way. The other thing is, yep, sure enough, you can see, what is that, a 32nd of an inch or something that it moves. But because I'm not trying to make an exact copy of a GT40, not a big deal. I don't care if it's down a little bit. And again, that'll be taken care of when I join the two pieces together. What I wanted to show you here is what I did. Okay, So you don't want an air gap in between the fiberglass and the gel coat, because you saw the gel coat's not very strong, so you need support from the fiberglass. All right, it's hard to get the fiberglass mat to go into these edges, sharp corners. So one way around that is to mix up a mixture of fiberglass fibers, pieces cut up, and resin, and then just put it in those areas where it's likely to cause issues with the fiberglass mat not going in there. So I did it there, and I am going to do it on the nose right here, but I ran out of material. I'll show you that in a minute. All right, so this that I've got right here is just resin and those little pieces of fiberglass. All right, now if we look at the other piece, let me flip it up. Right, this one looks similar, but it's slightly different. And the difference is that I use something called Cabasil. And Cabasil is a thickening agent. All right, so what it does is it's made so that you can put things on vertical surfaces without it falling down, running down, whatever. Now, that wasn't an issue here because I put it up on end, just like you saw that, when I did that. So it did help a little bit over here because that would have been vertical, but it's not a huge issue. And then I did the nose piece over here, same thing. I lifted this up, put it to where the nose was pointing down, and gravity put that in place. All right, when I put this on, it was more of a paste. So I put it in there and then used a spatula to cram it down in to try to get rid of any chance that there was an air bubble there. All right, now one of the issues is that I wanted to do this all at the same time, but I ran out of time. So you can see there's little pieces that stick up. Those are gonna cause issues when I put the fiberglass mat on there because it's not going to want to go around that. So there could be an air pocket there. Ideally, I'd love to be able to knock all of those down, but then I take a chance on damaging the gel coat. And obviously I don't want to damage my gel coat. So I don't know, I may hit it with a sander or I may not, but every time I say, oh, I'll just be real careful and hit it with a sander and not hit the gel coat, I end up accidentally hitting the gel coat somewhere. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do there, but those are my two options. I would have done, there's a little piece right there that didn't get hit because I ran out of stuff. All right, not a big deal, that's a bottom edge. I'm not sure if the edge is going to be exactly there anyway, so I'll do as good as I can, but there may be an air pocket or something right there, but it's a relatively easy area to fix. It's the areas like here, by the way, when you do a fender, these fender lips are really hard to do. First, when you make the splash mold and when you make the actual part. So I just want to give you a heads up that that will be challenging. What I end up doing is using these clips like this and a piece of material that the fiberglass won't stick to or the gel coat won't stick to, and then run it along there to get an edge. I did not do it here. I got in a hurry, and so what I've used in the past is those placemats. They're kind of like plastic type placemats, very flexible, and so I would use these clips to hold that in place. So that's an option. I did not do it here, but I have done it in the past on other pieces. Even though they're plastic, I found out fiberglass sticks to them, so you really need to wax the surface so that that doesn't happen. All right, so you can see this one, the surface came out pretty good. This is the one, believe it or not, that had all of the alligatoring. So you can see there a hint of the alligatoring. So what happened was I put on the gel coat thick right here and it went down into the alligatoring. When I pull this out of the mold, the alligatoring will be there, but it should be thick enough and high enough that I can just sand off the high spots and fix that. All right, let me see if there's anything else. Oh, and the issue with this one was, this is the one where it started sprinkling when I was working. And I realized, oh, I had PVA on the mold. And PVA is water soluble. So what happened is the rain dissolved the PVA, and so then there was nothing to help get these two to stick together. Plus, you know, you're not supposed to mix water in any of this composite material. All right, and as I promised, I'm going to show you what I've used and what I didn't use. All right, so there's two different things that you can use in the, I guess you can use it in the gel coat. I never have, but I definitely know you can use it with the fiberglass. So the first one is white glass microspheres, and these are literally little glass bubbles. The advantage of this stuff is it's unbelievably lightweight. It's a powder, so it can lighten up how heavy your part is. Those places that you just saw where I did around the corners, around the fender lip, there we go. Those are going to be unbelievably heavy because they're very resin heavy. All right, this would help offset that. You can make it less resin heavy, but then it's harder to get it to go down into there because it gets more paste-like. Speaking of paste-like, the next thing is fumed silica. Brand name is Cabasil, and it's like sand that's been, I don't know, fumed, whatever. Very lightweight again. I mean, it is unbelievably lightweight powder. This thing weighs virtually nothing. What it does is it thickens it, so it allows it to go on vertical surfaces without running. So the first piece I use this. The disadvantage of this, it's very hard to sand. So if you use this, just be willing to spend a lot of time sanding. It's like rock. All right. Now, the advantage that I have in this case is I've got gel coat on top of the fiberglass. So ideally, I will never sand through the gel coat. So therefore, I'll never have to sand the fiberglass that is got the Cabasil in it. So the difficulty of sanding it won't be an issue. All right. Now, it helped in one area. So let me go back over here and look at this. So again, this one had that added, and I was able to get it to put down and do vertical surface and all that. And I said, wait a minute. When I had it up on end, let me show you how it was. It was like this. I go, oh, I really don't have any vertical surfaces that I need to worry about. So I did the second one, and I just used fiberglass, ground up fiberglass or cut up fiberglass. What happened is it was literally a liquid. All right, even though it was kind of pasty, the fiberglass resin was still liquid. So it flowed down in. So whereas on the other one, I had kind of a U shape right through here, well, here it's self-leveled. All right, I would have rather had it a little more paste-like and been able to spread it out here to even that out. It didn't matter, you can see, but again, this area is going to be excessively heavy and excessively hard to sand if it does come down to sanding. Again, I'm hoping it doesn't, but just wanted to let you know that's the trade-off that you make when you use these materials. All right, speaking of which, this is the fiberglass filler that I used. It's a bunch of little, you can see, you can buy it, you can specify how long you want these little fibers. I don't remember what this distance was, but what is that? Maybe 3/8 of an inch or something.